Hello, Positive Filter listeners. This is Philip Wilkerson. This episode is a joint collaboration between me and the State of Podcast, hosted by Max Castner. He is also the president of the podcast club at George Mason. So, this episode, we discuss his student leadership and we have a collaboration as this episode will also be on his platform. Enjoy. Welcome to Positive Filter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career, with a little self-help along the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, people of the world. This is Philip Wilkerson back with another episode of Positive Filter. This is actually a special episode. This is a joint collaboration. So you may see this on my Positive Filter, and you might see this episode on the State of Podcast with Max Castner.
Yes,
now, just to give you a little bit of explanation of who I am, for those that don't listen, my name is Philip Wilkerson. I work at George Mason Career Services. I also am a podcast host, Positive Filter. I'm also a PhD student. And most recently, in this past year, I became the co-advisor of the podcast club at George Mason. And because of that great venture, that's how I was connected to Max, who is currently our president of this student club, as well as a SHAR student. I don't even know it's a policy and government. I don't want to get it wrong.
Good.
Is it policy and government?
Government and international politics.
See, I knew somewhere in there. And so because of that, we're going to do this joint episode. This young man has his own podcast, but also is a president of a club. So we're going to do a little something different. We're going to have like a joint podcast. You might see it on both ventures, but let's start off with this, right? Max, tell the listeners a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So my name's Max Castner. I'm from South Jersey, like 20 minutes outside of Philadelphia. So that's always like when people see me, they're like, oh, like this kid is from Philly.
Yeah.
So that's always I don't know. That's the best first impression.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's always the first impression that I leave.
Yeah.
So I'm at George Mason. It's my second year here, but I'm graduating in 3. I want to go to law school, or earlier than most want to go to law school.
Okay, that's why you're doing the 3. Okay.
Yeah, save money. Try to not have too many student loans. Came to George Mason, knew that I wanted to be near DC, and like money wise, Mason was the best option, the one that worked out the most for me. And it's been an amazing 2 years here. I found my people freshman year.
Yep.
The guys that I met the second night at Mason are my roommates in year 2 at Mason.
Yeah, in a small world, all they're connected. Because I know, like, I feel like 6 degrees of Max or six degrees of me. Like, you had a great RA, which I listened to his episode, but then you also know,
awesome.
Was it Andreas?
Yes,
like
Andre's great.
It's all these different worlds. So I'm gonna just jump around, but the thought is you want to go to law school.
Yes, sir.
But I know you love sports.
Yes.
Is there is that the kind of avenue? Do you want to do sports and law, or I know that you're doing politics. Is that still the avenue in which you want to go with your undergrad degree?
Yeah. So right now, if you told me what type of law do you want to practice, or asked me what type of law do I want to practice, I'd say sports and entertainment law.
Yeah.
On top of being a huge sports fan, I've played the piano for 14 years now, and the drums for 10.
Yep.
So like
music, you're all over the place. You got the music, you got the politics, you got the sports.
That's a big part of it too. I came here thinking that I wanted to do political science, and the more time I spend in that space, the less I'm like, wow, this is like what I want to do with my life. Which is great that I have the opportunity to even like learn that about myself.
Yes.
But the SHAR school's been awesome in that like it's not just political science. I'm taking like legal writing and philosophy classes and like so many things that are like, I don't want to learn about the politics of Germany, but I want to learn how to write like a Supreme Court justice, or I want to learn how to think like a Supreme Court justice. And I want to understand like, how do I dissect these arguments and how do I do this so that when I go to law school, I can be more successful, or I can be more prepared when I go to law school. So the SHAR school has been a blessing in that. But yes, I would want to do sports and entertainment law.
So what I'm hearing is the Shar School or any undergrad degree is usually just a vehicle for skills. You don't always have to do exactly what your undergrad degree is.
1000%.
So what I'm hearing is that, learning how to write or connect with officials, that might be beneficial as a lawyer, right? Or learn how to do arguments or do research. So you still get those skills, but you could do many different things with what you're doing. Was that like initially coming in as you had this awakening when you came, because the DC area, was it initially for a political thing? You want to get into politics?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that I was going to be a summer intern on Capitol Hill. I thought I was going to do all of that stuff. And like the people that love doing that and want to do that, like that's awesome, and they really love it. But that like I learned last summer. I was like,
okay, what happened? Was it? Did you actually do an internship?
No. I went home last summer. I applied around on Capitol Hill.
Yes.
I had a couple of interviews, and at the end of it, I was like, I don't want my first summer in college to be like here running around Capitol Hill doing all of this. Like I want to go home. I want to spend time with my family.
Right.
I'm blessed to have a house near the beach in Jersey.
I was like,
yes, I'm spending my summer at the beach with my family.
Yeah.
And then like realizing that, I was like, okay. And then like some of my friends were interning, and I just heard horror stories. And I was like, all right, like I don't really know that
you didn't have no FOMO. No,
I'm sitting on a beach eating a hoagie with my dogs and my family. I'm like, I'm good. I'm great over here.
I love it. Okay, this is a random pivot. Draft. What do you think about Makai Lemon? He needs a speech class. Yeah, not. Maybe he does have a learning disability or something.
He'll be great in Philly.
So I don't want to, but his interviews is crazy.
Yeah, he came out. He was walking out the tunnel. He turned and started screaming at the Eagles logo. I was like, I love this guy. Fire me up.
Yeah, what do you say? Something. He's like, I'm not here to play. I'm here to get to work. I'm like, what are you talking?
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, you are.
So he got the Philly vibe. All right, so.
Probably means the end of AJ Brown. I'm not the biggest fan of that.
Hey, he was reading, man. He was getting his literature on, on the sideline.
I got that book. It's a good book.
It's a good book. So, Podcast Club. This was actually through the Shar School, but tell us a little bit about that journey for you in student leadership, because I will make an assumption that this is your first role as a president of a student club. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. In college, sometimes the most random stuff is the stuff that sticks with you. It doesn't take a lot of persuasion. I was in this community called Democracy Lab last year, and I think Buzz sent something to Dr. Victor, or maybe you sent something to Dr. Victor.
I don't. Maybe one of us. Who knows?
Somebody sent. Something
I'm connected to her
Victor.
too. The world's small.
Yeah. And she sent this email out to our Democracy Lab and was like, hey, like anyone who likes podcasts or has been told that they should do radio, or like my great grandfather was a sports announcer or something.
Yes. I love that.
So like I've been told, oh, like you have the voice, you could do a podcast or do radio. I have the accent.
I got the face for radio, so
yeah. So yeah, I was told about that, and then I was told about this opportunity to be a part of the podcast club. And at first I was like, great, like RSO, I can check my name off of like being a member of. And then like I met you at that first meeting. We're like, okay, like we need staff, we need a president, we need roles. And I was just kind of like, you know what, like screw it, I'll do it.
I love it.
What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? I'm gonna be in the same spot I am now. That's usually my like mindset when it comes to trying things, but it's been awesome. I mean, it's been a learning experience. There's been growing pains, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, one, I would say that mindset of I'll figure it out and it's not that serious is going to be something that's going to carry you throughout your life. I get on my now old man and see that in young people like yourself, and I was like, that's not should not be an understated thing, because a lot of people just don't do. So that's give you a shout out. And two, like you're right. It's not like life or death. We're not getting paid.
Right.
So like no mistake is that, or growth or whatever. Like, okay, like it's not even that big a deal. Like no one's getting paid. No one's getting fired. So these student leadership opportunities are a perfect vehicle to just play around, because there's really like low risk.
Yeah.
But there is high reward, right? You learn some things. You learn about yourself. You learn how to delegate and all those things. So I want to give you your flowers now to say that kudos to doing that. But
Thank you.
two, to those that are listening, don't wait to create if you want to have that experience. Now that I think about it, I do hear the radio. That must be the ancestry coming through. If you could have, well, you do have your own podcast.
I do.
And you're talking about stuff. If you got $1 million budget,
Ooh.
what type of will it be like your podcast, or what would you do with that $1 million budget?
I don't know.
For yourself.
If I had $1 million budget, I would probably move to Philadelphia and just cover Philly sports.
Philly sports. I would love it. Like which one? All of them?
All of them.
Do you watch all of them?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know all of them?
Yeah.
See, like I would say, like I could do DMV, but I really can't tell you. I think soccer.
Yeah, I was gonna say
soccer is like
I can't do soccer.
Soccer is that, and I know a little bit more about Caps. Is a big market here, but I can't tell you about hockey anywhere other than here, right?
Yeah.
So there's certain
Hockey's
sports.
scary here.
Yes, there's like I was saying, different markets. So this one is for Philly. Obviously, it's got Flyers, got everything. Which one would you like double down though? I mean, they talk about everything, but which one would you be like? I had to go to more of the games and be there.
Probably the Phillies in baseball.
Okay, yeah.
And there's so many games that you kind of have to. And baseball is my favorite sport.
Okay.
I don't know why. Like I could sit down in front of a couch and watch a baseball game, no problem. And I played baseball. Like I've always just loved baseball, so I would cover. And the Phillies are doing horribly to start the year right now.
Yeah, I can't tell you nothing about no Phillies. I just remember if this shows how bad I know is that they got took them from us.
Harper.
Yeah, that's it. And then Ryan Howard back in the day. I can't tell you nothing about
Ryan Howard.
I can't tell you nothing about it. So, what are some lessons you learned through your first year of student leadership?
That's a really good question. How to talk to people.
Yeah.
How to be a leader and tell people things and be kind. Like how to find that in the middle. Because there have been some hard conversations that I've had to have. They're like, hey, you're not doing your job. I need you to step up, or I need you to figure out if you're gonna leave or what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So I would say finding the balance between I'm not everybody's friend, and I don't have to be everybody's best friend that I work with.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But we're here for a goal. We're all here for the same reason. So figuring out how to lead and how to have tough conversations, and also how to be uplifting. I do have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So figuring out how to use that in a positive way for sure.
Yeah, I think it really resonated because I'm in a lot of fraternal organizations, my frat and all that, and there is a difference between friendship and civility, right? And I get to your point, right? We have this notion that you have to be friends with everyone within a certain organization. Like a friend, every guy that's wearing Alpha Phi Alpha has to be my friend. And be honest with you, I'm not friends with all my fraternity brothers, right? But I am respectful and civil. And there's a difference, that line, right? Who would be your friend, and then who would be we're going to have to work together, but let's be respectful. And I think that's a lesson that student leadership does teach too, because everyone thinks I think there's a lot of intersection between, your social life in this, right? So you think, oh, we should be all friends, but you don't have to vibe with everyone, but you have to respect and work together, right? And I think that's something you learn.
It's
through leadership.
Yeah, I mean, when you're thinking about positions and people, it's who do you respect and who's going to get the job first, or who's going to get the job done first, and then it's okay. Is this someone that I could work with on? Is this someone I would give my phone number to? Is this
exactly? Yeah.
If they were hey, I'm working on something, do you want to go out and get a bite to eat and talk about it?
Yeah.
That's the next level.
There's different, right?
Yeah.
Or this is someone that when we we leave for the day. We both left when we don't see each other till
Yeah.
Monday. Like, you know,
Yeah,
and
is this
that's
someone
okay.
that,
Yeah. Like,
is this someone that's gonna like see something and be like, oh, like Max would love this, and like send me a picture on Saturday or something?
yeah, I love that. And so you learn a little bit about that over the course of this
Yes,
year.
for sure.
What was one thing that you've been super proud of so far?
Time management.
Okay, tell us.
Coming into college, it was not my strong suit. If my dad's listening to this, like
Okay.
he still thinks I suck at time management.
Hey,
Um,
it gets better. I still suck at it too, but it gets better. I'll tell you that.
yeah, but coming here, I found success coaching at,
Oh yeah. Okay.
at
Yeah.
Mason.
Yep. That's a good resource.
And I was doing fine for all like student concerns. Had like a 3.8.
Yeah, I mean,
Like just getting through it. But there were things that personally, like, I wasn't happy with how I was doing. I wasn't happy that I was doing assignments that were due at midnight at 11:45.
I find that really interesting, and I want you to keep on going back to time management, but it's like also showing that like not necessarily are grades the only metrics of wellness,
Oh,
right?
hell
Like,
no.
so you're doing like
Hell
on the
no.
surface a 3.8. I literally my eyes just went like, what? Like, dang, a 3.8. But you still was like, I need some help with success coaching. So I want to go back to that. But that's a good metric to know. Like, you know, there's other ways to evaluate whether you're doing well and need to improve on time management. Okay,
Right.
keep going.
So I found a success coach at Mason, Riley. She's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I had a planner, and she was like, all right, like make a plan every
Yeah.
week. And at first it was like the most boring.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to think it through. I didn't want to, like, I just kind of wanted to flow and
Yeah.
do whatever. But flowing was screwing me over a couple
It's
times.
drowning you a little
Yeah.
bit.
So working with her and starting to make plans. And I mean, there's still weeks that I on Sunday should do it and I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a perfect process, but like working with her, figuring out how to make plans. Okay, figuring out like how much time and space I actually have.
Yeah.
I was treating it like I had no space, but I had some space that I was just using for TikTok.
Yeah.
Or I was
Doom
just using
scrolling.
to play video games. That I was like, I could write a paper, or I could do a podcast. In this time.
So I think one of the things I'm learning too, and I'll share this later with you offline, is about like putting it down on paper. Is like I said, like you're almost an experiment on yourself. You don't realize it until you visually see it. When you're living in it and you're quote unquote drowning in overwhelmness, you're like, oh my gosh. But then like, let's say you write it out on a list and you're like, oh, if I wrote it on a list, I could do some of this stuff later.
Yeah.
Or maybe it does look worse. You're like, you wrote it all on a list and you're like, I'm doing way too much, so that visual. So I think that's good. So you learned about that time management, but let's flip it. How did you become proud of yourself with this? Because you said that was the initial thing. Like, I'm really proud of my time management through student leadership.
Just doing it. And like, I started working with Riley last spring, and then the end of last spring, the opportunity to work in the podcast club came up.
Oh, it was before that.
Yes, it was before that.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was like, okay, like, is this something that I can think about and do? Like, is this something I have time for? And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, let's do it. And then just from there, like figuring out, okay, like even after this, we have this podcast, I have a lab, and then I'm going with our new treasurer to make a bank account today.
Let's get it. All right.
So like just figuring out time and working with other people and like coordinating events, just doing it.
And you're seeing your week out, because I know he's being very modest. He's also in the Green Machine. You're also doing Democracy Lab. You're doing all this stuff. So like Sunday can look pretty full.
Yes,
like when you do it.
Sunday's full of just like rest sometimes.
Oh yeah.
On Sundays, I'm not getting out of bed before like 11.
So maybe that's why you should just go home. You go home over the summer. So what's a summer day gonna look like then? What's the summer day this year gonna look like?
I have an internship at a law firm back home on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Bet.
So my Tuesdays and Wednesdays are just gonna be like 9 to 5. I don't know how much work I'm gonna be doing and how much coffee I'm gonna be getting people.
Yeah.
But cool. Yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to. And then for the 6th summer, I have a job at a deli.
I love it.
And in Jersey. So I'll be working there for summer number
Dang,
6.
you make them hoagies, man.
Yes.
You really like, you got the chain on. You're like Bradley Cooper, young. Like, what's that movie? I mean,
I wish.
you
I wish I was like Bradley
you are
Cooper.
you are the quintessential Philly person. Are you of Italian descent?
I'm not.
Which one? Polish? I'm trying to think. Irish. Okay. Is that a very South? Is that a Jersey thing? That area?
Not really.
I don't know. I'm a historian, so I love to learn about like people's origins.
Like, yes, there are, but I mean, it's
mainly like Italian. Yeah,
I'm a fake Italian. I tell people,
you're a faux Italian. And we're gonna have to look up. My history brain is going. We have to find some of those raw audio of your grandfather. Have you listened to him before?
I have not.
Oh snap! There you go. You gotta go down that rabbit hole, bro.
Yeah.
I
don't know how.
You said what area was he broadcasting for? Philly?
Like Delaware County. Yeah, like outside of Philly.
Oh, we're gonna have to I bet that stuff's out there somewhere on the internet. That's crazy. I love that kind of stuff. So, I think this is my last question. We flip, we'll turn this into the state of collab. But my last question is the future. What is one thing, like you got one more year as president of this club. And I think one of the things, visionary wise, is you're doing a great job of transferring leadership and letting other people take it on. But what's one thing you would like to accomplish or get done or stand on business for the last year? Because you're going to graduate, right, too?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What do you want to do for that last year?
Events.
Okay.
I have a kickoff to fall of 2026 event planned right now.
Yeah, let's get it.
I got to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, let's do it, though.
A little more. But kind of a culmination, because there were so many things that we've wanted to do last fall and this semester that for one reason or another have slipped away. I mean, I'm just glad that the club's going to continue for another year.
I'll be honest with you, in regards to all the 500 RSOs, I think that literally should be a metric of success of retention past year one.
Right.
So shout out to you.
Thank you. But there's like, we haven't done a big event. We haven't had that yet. And like, there's so many professors, there's so many faculty that I've met this past year that have been like, oh, you have a podcast, or oh, you're in the podcast club.
Yep.
I'm in a class with Mike Pence.
Class,
and he saw the little podcast club sticker. And it was like, oh, you have a podcast? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I was like, oh my God, is the former vice president going to be on my podcast?
Well, the fact that you actually just said that to the former vice president is a crazy flex. like,
I was like, yeah, bro. What about it, Mike?
What about it, Mike? That's crazy. Oh, man. Like, that's the way to turn it on. You talk to Mike Pence. That's crazy. All right, Flip. So it's you. We're going. This is a experiential learning. You're the podcast host now.
For sure. So I guess tell me a little bit about yourself. What drew you to Mason?
Oh man, my origin story.
What's kept you at Mason?
Okay, yeah. So I forgot to add my other title is the unofficial mayor of Mason, aka self-proclaimed. Made that up. But so my journey to Mason. Quick abbreviated version. I went to JMU in Harrisonburg for undergrad history. Graduated unbeknownst to me during a recession. All right, so we back, and that was a good interim. So now we're flipping seats. So
yeah,
good.
So Phil, why don't you tell me a little bit, like, how did you get into podcasting? What brought you to Mason? What brought you to be the mayor of Mason?
Unofficial.
Unofficial.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. I joke with the unofficial part because I don't want to get sued. So my story to Mason, I'll do a very abbreviated version. But I went to James Madison for undergrad, studied history, and unbeknownst to me, in 2008 when I graduated, I'm old. I was during a recession.
I was 2.
Yeah, Jesus. So it was a recession, right? And I wasn't as ambitious as you. I did not have no 3.8. I guess I did some internships. I did have a full experience at JMU, like studied abroad, did all the stuff. So, but I definitely was not a career-focused person. And I didn't get a job, right? Like I went to the career center once. I don't think I even went to a career fair, which is ironic because I work in career services now. And so then I moved back home with my parents in this area, Alexandria. And that summer, I was just trying to get a job and I don't know what I want to do. Like I was literally just a lost student. But very fortunate for me, one of my close friends had a job at a school with children with special needs called Alternative Path Training School. And what it is kids with autism, Downs, the all the different things, but had been placed out of public school because of behavior. They'll bite, kick, whatever, have episodes. So they just needed bodies. We called them behavior facilitators, but they were actually like teacher bodyguards. Like you would just like the teacher would try to teach and you would just get beat up. I got some still scars.
Wow.
But he was, uh he put us all on actually. My friend Justin Bell, he got me a job, my boy Hillard a job, my Hillard's brother David a job, Kevin. I mean, it was kind of just a bunch of guys from high school near Alexandria that went to the school. And so while I was there, I was like, wow, like I like education, you know. Maybe I want to be a teacher or a school counselor, but I don't. I was like, I don't really want to be a history teacher, even though that's what I studied. So I looked up school counseling programs, and surprise, surprise, George Mason was there. But George, and I tell people this in a really sophisticated way. You know why I applied to George Mason?
Why is that?
Because they didn't ask for a GRE. Like I was like, whatever, they'll take me. But I think in that floating mindset, it was actually the opposite. It was like one of the most life-changing programs. I went to the counseling program here at George Mason. While I was studying, I realized, hey, everyone in my class wants to do school counseling. There's not that many schools in the area. Let me switch over. So I did another concentration, which was community agency counseling. And, it was just all these like random floating events. We had a career counseling class, like how to, talk about people's feelings and stuff, but also have that career focus, like, what do you want to do? The personality test, all these things like that. A lot of your personality comes in at work and stuff. So we were taking this career development class, and a gentleman by the name of Ken Garant came to our class, and he did like a workshop and all that. And he was like, hey, and matter of fact, I work at George Mason Career Services, and we have an internship for you to like, put into practice career counseling. And that was it. Awesome. I was like, light bulb. So like knowing me, like I emailed him, said, can I shadow you for a day? Can I do an informational interview? Can I learn about it? The dude emailed me back and was like after I did all this, he was like, Philip, stop. You got the internship. Like, leave me alone. And he became he was like a mentor. He was a really good friend. He passed away, unfortunately. But so that whole year of me getting my master's, that last year, I did work where I worked, like in Sub 1, in the building, from 2011 to 2012. And that was just it. Like, I was like, I love working at a university. Maybe I never grew up or something. I don't know. But this is what I wanted to do. And so after I graduated in 2012, I applied for a full-time job at Career Services. Didn't get it. But my mindset was like, this is the space, higher ed. So I worked in different places. I worked at GW. I worked at VCU. I worked at different places. And then very fortunately, came back in 2017. And the rest is history. And that's it, really. I think that was really my Mason started my journey. Concurrently, my podcast starting journey was when I was working at a job right before Mason, and I was not super motivated at work. It was a job. It wasn't lighting me up. I would do these things in my car called Random Rambles of Philip Wilkerson, which are still on YouTube. And I would sit in my car and I say, Monday motivation, like this. And I was like, this is boring. Like, first of all, no one wants to see me just sit in my car, right? But I didn't know how to do audio editing and stuff. And so my friend, I was like, but I heard about this radio show thing called podcast. And this is 2016. Yeah, 2016. Heard about this radio thing called podcast. I guess that's better than me just sitting in my car, maybe because I could just do the audio. I don't have to worry about, I'm not the best video editor, but I can play around with audio editing. And my friend put me on, and he connected me with this guy named Dean Bakari. And that guy talked to me for an hour and told me all the ins and outs of getting a hosting site and all that stuff. And I started a podcast called Positive Philter. And that was just a way, that was just a vehicle for me to like get my thoughts out, like those Monday motivational things. But then I realized like, hey, I don't like doing podcasts by myself, so I turned it into a guest thing where I interview people, because that's what I really liked, talking to other people. And then I try to do that with my best friend Hillard, one of the gentlemen I've known since high school, and then he worked at the same job with me, and he moved to Idaho.
Wow.
That's where I connected him with your buddy.
Yeah.
And we would try to sync up and do like, so if you look really back in the archives, my first couple episodes was with him because like one, this is a funny, I do share this all the time. Like when I first recorded a podcast, I didn't like how I sounded. I was also nervous. I recorded an episode in December 2016. I didn't release an episode till April 2017. So that was like 6 months of me like, oh, this doesn't sound good. So I was like, if Hillard does it with me, I have my best friend doing it with me, I feel more comfortable. So a lot of my episodes at the beginning was me and my best friend Hillard, but unfortunately our schedules couldn't sync. And I was like, Hill, are you cool with me just keep on doing it? I like it now. And he kind of like, it's almost like when someone helps you with a bicycle and then they can let you go. So he was like that. And then he was like, all right. And so then I just started saying, let me just interview people. So I had my dad and I had like people in my life, that was easy. And then transform later, I think it gave me enough confidence to say like, okay, let me reach out to strangers, or like, if there's someone of status, like I had like James Walkinshaw, I was like, if there's someone that I wanted to interview, I could shoot my shot. Worst case scenario, they say no. But a couple of times they said yes. So then I just started doing that. And then, the rest is history it's just another, like, once again, I think it was just another vehicle for me to experiment. And then I could incorporate it into my Mason journey by interviewing Mason people and interviewing you. So I think concurrently, those are the kind of the origin stories of my Mason journey. And I think since 2017 to now, I think one of the biggest things I've really been happy about is just being involved with student leaders. I'm the faculty advisor for the podcast club. I'm also the faculty advisor for the NAACP, as well as the Iota Alpha chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So my normal 9 to 5 is working with employers. And so the only touch point I really have to students is through student org. So I still enjoy doing that. So that's it. That was a wide range. Yeah.
Where did the name Positive? I mean, obviously it's a play on words with your name. But how'd you come up with Positive Philter?
I can't even claim that, man. Like, I must be the best at just asking other people. So one time I was like, yo, I think I got to find this Facebook post. I was like, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. Like, does anyone have any name suggestions? And I just got flooded. I got to find like some of the other names. And shout out to Kate Kavanaugh. Shout out to her. There's a random comment that just said Positive Philter. And like, like when you just hear something, it's like, that's it.
Like, ooh.
That's it. It was like, all right, that's the one I want. And then it was like it's like a real community thing. And then how do I come up with my logo? I was like, I don't know how to make a graphic. I sent it to one of my other friends and she made me my first graphic. And so I think a lot of this was just support from other people, like, and so that's, the Positive Philter came from the community that I put on LinkedIn. I asked for advice. And I think it was also like the energy I carry. A lot of people think, I try to think of like the glass is half full, but not in a toxic positive way. Like, I do recognize adversity, but like, I was like, if I'm going to have a avenue to talk about stuff, I want it to be like something that uplifts people. Because once again, back to the origin story, when I was doing those videos in my car, I was trying to be positive about I was like, we're going to chase the week. I was like, man, I didn't really like my job, but that, like, you have to speak it, right? Like, if I went into, those video recordings and just like said I hated my job, that energy would have carried into the work. So I was like, if I come with that, if I, exude that on the radio, maybe that's, I'll become it. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. So yeah, that name, once I saw it, it was like, I think it's still up there, but I think it had like hundreds of comments.
Wow.
And that one just like, it was like that was it. Like, I want Positive Philter.
So what do you, obviously in career services, you work with like organizations and like job places.
Yeah.
But you also work with students.
Well, so I used to, when I first initially got to George Mason in 2017, I was what we called an industry advisor. So what that meant was we break up our industries, like in categories, so that, we can not be a jack of all trades. We can hyper focus. So I was like media, arts, design, sports and rec, and hospitality and tourism. And what that meant was I would work with the students on those industries and then also work with employers to build that bridge. Now, mind you, I'm not a job placement agent, but I would be like, okay, the nationals, you want to hire students, let's do a panel, let's do a career event. So that was I had that role split between, and then for the students I was doing their resumes and cover letters and all that stuff. But then we realized to scale it was getting too much to serve employers and students concurrently. So our office split and said, okay, these folks will be career advisors, they will see the students, and you will be an employer engagement consultant and you will just see the employers. And so, I just made a decision to try something different and see only employers. And because, as I said earlier, I was like, I'll still have touch points to students through this, student leaders. I won't have one-on-one appointments anymore like I used to, like, doing the one-on-one career counseling stuff, but I'll still get to be plugged in. And then, so now I only see employers, but my industries remain the same: media, arts, design, sports and rec, hospitality and tourism. But then because we split it, they added tech and engineering to my portfolio. So I see a lot of those companies now too. And that was around 2012. So for first 5 years, it was both. And now from 2012 to now, it's been mainly employer facing. But I still get outside and I still feel like I get, energy from seeing students. I think it's just not the same volume as my career advisor counterparts.
Yeah. So working with employers,
Yeah.
what are some things you think students don't know that they should know?
Oh man, here we go. I think,
Give me some advice.
the
I want a
practice.
job.
No, see well, here's the part where I'm gonna say give you advice. I think you're already doing it, but it's just not seeing that you're already doing it. So for instance, we have a thing called like the how to be career ready, and it's a formula. And what I mean by that, it's like just a way to explain it. So number one, earn your degree. You're doing that. Number two is gain like career relevant experiences. You're doing it. Number three is to market yourself. You're doing it, but no one sees it, right? And so let's say this. Number one,
That's the hardest part.
Yeah. So number one, and I think the market part is your hardest. So number one, you're already doing it. You're getting a degree, and we already discussed that degrees don't equal careers. Your skills do. So you're getting a degree in SHAR school, but you're getting a degree that has skills that will be applicable to everything. And so when you reframe that as a student, you're seeing like, yeah, I'm in SHAR school, but I'm learning how to write this and that I can do that with any career. So boom. I think when we think of a diploma, we think that it is like a decoration of only one career path, as opposed to looking at your diploma and saying, how can I look at that diploma and see and extract the skills I learned, right? Like you can learn skills. I'm a history major. I'm not doing history, but the skills I learned was context means everything. Like I love to nerd out. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm always going to remember that your grandfather had a cable network show, and I'm probably going to go down the rabbit hole and have that context. And I look at things like, even like this, I'm like, why did something happen before this? And why is it happening now? Like the contextual stuff, that's a history skill, and writing and presentations. So you learn that, right?
Question everything.
And then was the number two was gain meaningful experiences. Now, we usually say gain at least 2 during your college, and then think about it. What is career ready experiences? An internship is what everyone always thinks, right? But not everyone can get an internship. So I'll say, okay, how can you get experiences outside the classroom that still prepare you? Student leadership, study abroad, volunteering, extra research, democracy lab. So you are getting experiences, right, outside the classroom that will build your career readiness, right? And then number 3 is market it. And I think that's the biggest part, because a lot of people are like, I never got an internship. Well, you did the student leadership stuff. That's marketable.
Yeah.
How do you reframe that? You did the democracy lab. That's marketable. How do you reframe that? So it's about,
there's a story in everything.
Yeah, and also it's a career thing. Like, how can I say like not say finesse, but like, how can I say, well, in a democracy lab, we talked about this, and this. I'm going to a job, I'm going to be doing this, and this. So I think that experience prepares me for this, right? And I think a lot of people, I'll say this is the biggest soapbox part, is that the biggest advantage to coming to a university is the relationships you build. Because I say this all the time. You literally could just stayed at home and gone on school online.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point to brick and mortar if you really think about the knowledge part. You came to this school because of the social capital you can build. So based on, the classes, who are in your classes, those are going to be future connections.
Who are the professors?
Who are the professors?
Yeah.
I'm in a class and I got to meet Mike Pence, right? So like, that's the part where I don't think students are capitalizing on. They're just like tunnel vision, class, and that's it. And I'm like, look around you and look at all the people you can connect with. Like, you are in a great space. There's no other space where you're going to meet people like this, because then, you go out in the real world. I mean, you still can, but like, you have to work a little bit harder. This is kind of like forced on you. These spaces are forced, your classes, right? Like, you have to go to a class and look at your neighbor. You never know. You're the guy that's in the same row, guy or, girl or person in the same row. They might be the next congresswoman, or, like, the people in your classes might become someone. You're like, oh, I remember when. Or, your professors, a lot of your professors, which you already know from your experience in the Shar School, this is like their encore career.
Right.
They worked for the feds. They worked for a congressperson. And now they're coming back to teach. So if you know that, they're still plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the relationship building thing is the one that's the most underutilized. And if you can like tap into that with confidence, like walk in there and say, this is just my professor. It's almost like you see them not as like the superhuman, like, oh, and they're nice to me and I do good work in their class. Of course they'll write me a reference, like, because I'm a good student. Don't be a trash student, because then, they're not going to write you a recommendation. But like, all that relationship building, it really comes back tenfold. Like, really, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. I think there's people like, I'm like, wow, that person was in class with me, and now they're like alum of the year, like, and so thinking about cultivating those relationships, and not in some Machiavellian way, like I'm only making these relationships to get over on them, but like more so like just understanding the potential in others, the potential later on for how they're going to be someone that open a door for you, right? And I think if you go at it with, I'm kind to everyone, or nice, you'll realize that people, like, when you hit them up later, like, oh yeah, that's my man, that's Phil. And you're like, oh, I didn't do nothing but just like lend you my pencil, like, like you're just, you didn't think that those small acts of kindness mattered, but it did. So I think I would say, I wrap that whole thing up to say the biggest advantage, if you're a student, besides getting good grades, is build real, genuine relationships with everyone around you in those different pockets. Classmates, professors, alumni, come to those alumni events. Those spaces will lead to helping you with your career.
Yeah. That's really insightful.
Yeah, you see it. I mean, like, think about this. 6 degrees. Your boy moved out to Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
My boy lives in Idaho. I connected them. Boom.
Right.
Like, you never know who's connected to somebody, And so those are things to think about. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in my work with Riley, like I'm taking a geology class right now. I hate geology.
Yeah.
Like I don't like science.
Yeah.
And I'm not, it's not my greatest work in the class. I bombed a midterm for the first time in my college career. And I was working with Riley on like academically, how do I get back? And she was like, you're probably not going to get an A in this class. But you have a great answer when someone goes, hey, what's some adversity you faced in college?
There it is. That's your
like,
answer.
You have great, like a question in an interview, because no one wants to hear, oh, I've never faced adversity in my life. Yeah. This is a struggle I faced. This is how I worked through it.
I was about to say, and it's not just you faced it. It's like, I still went to the class.
Yes.
I still did it.
I went to the professor's office hours.
Yes.
Like I cultivated a relationship with him.
There it is.
Even though I have a B in his class. Like,
oh, and look at that. I mean, you lived. It's a B, dog.
Yes.
Like
yes.
I was going to say, when I was in college, it was like C's get degrees. I was like, thank God, get me out of here. There's summa cum laude and there's old thank Lorde. You know what I'm saying? And also think about this too. I don't know if you sat next to someone, maybe there's a cool person in your class. That's a new relationship.
Yeah.
Because mostly like those classes at that, you might not get a chance to take classes with people that are not Shar School people.
Yeah.
So you got, that's a person I never would have saw because I'm normally in my Shar School bubble, but I took this geology class.
I love those classes.
The new ones, the different ones?
Yeah,
Or
because I'm like Spanish.
yeah,
I've met some of my best
yeah,
friends in a Spanish class.
exactly.
Um,
I'm trying to think of an off one because I'm a history major. I had to take stats. That was
mhm.
cool. I took a like we just had to have like another elective. I took like a business law class at JMU, and the teacher is cool. Like, she still writes me. Her name was Queen Delphine. That's cool. Like her name was Queen Delphine. She was
Oh,
AKA.
that's awesome.
And like so like that, I wouldn't have took that class, but I needed extra. So these are things to think about. Like I love your story. Like you can one take that class and turn it into your adversity story. Check. You can also take that class and realize you met new people. Check. So it's still a value add in your Mason journey.
Yeah. Um, a question. I think I asked it to Dylan, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
If you could pick up the phone and call high school Phil or college Phil, what are some
Yes.
things you would tell him?
Well, I actually tell them like you're smart and that you should actually try because I was the quintessential high achiever, underachiever. Meaning, if it lit me up, if it was something that lit me up, you can't tell me nothing. I'm gonna get A's. But if
Mhm.
it's not, it was like pulling teeth. So like when I switched to history, A, straight A's in history, a C, barely passing in Spanish and stuff like that. And so like I would have thought in my mindset, like, take that same energy. And you're not going, like you said, I'm not going to get a, but maybe get it a little bit better. And I think too, knowing what I know now, I would have complimented my James Madison experience with a skill building thing. Like I love podcasting. I didn't know that. I love media. So maybe I would have, done something complementary to my history major, like wrote for the Breeze, the school. I would have wrote for the school paper or done the we had a university radio, but I never looked into that. I didn't know that was a thing until I got here. So I didn't know that there were so many resources at James Madison that I could have taken advantage of until now. I'm like, wow, I know we had a school radio because they had one here. I know they had one there. We had a school paper. We got one there. We have minors. It's like I got, so I would have just like I wish I could just take my brain of like what is the resources on a college campus and told myself like take advantage of this stuff there because I didn't take advantage of it. And now I'm like, wow, I should have took advantage of all this free stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what I definitely would have called it myself. And I would have done the college one. High school one, I'm like, he's a wash, man. I ain't talking to him. Like I would have talked to my college self, but not my high school self for sure.
And then in that media sphere, like what are some things you do? What are some people you look up to? I know on the drive here, I like to listen to J. Cole a lot. I'm a big J. Cole fan.
Yeah, I'm going to see him. I'm going to see it in July. He's going to Baltimore.
Okay, I'm
July 23rd.
I'm trying to see him in Philly.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I love it. He's my favorite rapper too. So we got that in common. Look
That's
at that.
awesome. Yeah, like on the way here, but before I record, I always try to like just practice like speaking and getting my words out. But
no,
like,
Cole is. I'll say this. Cole has been on my like North Star interview list. If I ever could interview someone on a podcast, it'd be J. Cole, and that's flat out. I've said that 1,000 times. So like, I would just love to learn about him. I love that he's like my age, right? Like he's born, his birthday is one day before mine.
wow.
January 28th, I'm 29th. And I would love to like just talk to him about, I love like he has interviews where he's talking about like chasing your dreams and like more like career advice. And so it would be like mixed, it'd be basically like a podcast about careers and talk about his music because like I love his journey. He
Playing
went to
basketball.
and going to college. He went to St. John's and he was like, yo, college. But his reason to go to St. John's wasn't for college. His reason to go to St. John's because he wanted to be in New York, right? Like he was like, I wanted to be, I didn't go to A&T because I didn't want to be in Greensboro. I wanted to go to, and so like his mindset, like that's the things I would interview him about. And like, I don't know, like you say who I look up to, this is like a cop out, but I like always write about it. I look up to like my own dad and my grandfather. And the reason I wrote about this, I think that sometimes the people like we think about historical people and all this stuff, but I was like, I feel like I'm living history myself. Like the other, my grandfather he was a doctor for Charlotte and went to McCary Medical College and got his degree in medicine in 1953. Wow. So think about this as a black man in that time, and then doing that. Like, he was remarkable. And like, I found it. My uncle gave me all his like stuff. I found his receipts. Like, he only paid like $190 for tuition, like all this crazy stuff. And then I have his diploma. And so I actually PDF'd his diploma, and I got his diploma in my phone. And that just motivates me to, like, if he can get a medical degree in 1953, like, there's no excuses for me.
Yeah.
I can do it, you know? I mean, I'm not going. And here's the other part that's humanizing. I used to think like it's a duality of it, like admiring him but also humanizing him. I saw his transcripts. Did you think he got straight A's in medical school? No, he got
anyone who gets straight A's in medical school.
He got like C's. He had like a C in organic or anatomy and all this stuff. I was like, so here's the point. He made it through. He got his degree, but it wasn't perfect. And so that's a mindset for me, is like, you know, you can do something with yourself, but also like not have to like be perfect in that journey. So that's one. And then my dad was one of the first African Americans to go to VMI, Virginia Military Institute, class of 72. Actually, he actually integrated twice. He was the first time they integrated Hampton High School. So that's one in 1964 as a freshman in high school. It was the first year they integrated Hampton. And then again, he had to do integration again in 1968 when he stepped foot on VMI and was one of the first blacks there, like 1 out of 5. And so he made it through. And so like I got these two pillars, and then shout out to my mom. She's a doctor. I got all these, like I can go down my whole lineage, but I was just thinking about these two males that I have. I look up to them, like, and I thought about it in a sense that when I was young, I felt like I had to be a doctor, lawyer, bust, you know, to be like them, to be considered great, to be impactful. And then now I realize through my own journey is that, you know, being a father, that I'm leaving an impact there. Doing my normal 9 to 5 at Mason, I'm making an impact there. I don't have to do it like them, but I can do it with the same energy and same determination. And once again, knowing the hidden part is like I learned from my dad that he didn't make it through VMI perfectly. He had to switch majors 3 times, and he had to struggle.
Right.
Like that's the history part. Like the history part is learning like contextually. Like we get the cliff notes, you know, like they were successful, but we don't see, like, if you're a real historian, you learn that the journey is messy.
Right.
Like
you see all of it.
You see, like, they get cut. You know, Michael Jordan, I love sports history. You realize that, you know, Michael Jordan is probably, and this is like another one, Michael Jordan is the most petty person I've ever thought about, because every time he got his feelings hurt, he would be like, I took it personally. And then he was like on a revenge tour, right? But I love that too. Because then I
watch this.
Yeah, because I'm like, I do that too. So I think
we all do.
I have those people, but I would say flat out people I look up to are those two. You know, like they're my rocks for sure, and awesome. Other people. And like I PDF it and send it to my cousins. You know, the diploma and stuff, and they're like, thanks. You know, they call me Little Phil because my dad's Big Phil, and so it's like, yeah, history's here, history's everywhere. I think we can have heroes that are like big time people, but I think also like I feel like I have some heroes in my own family. You know, if you like really look at it. So, well, I think this is a good place to wrap up. But I'm gonna ask you. Sure. This is my, you know, flip flop. Okay. Is I do a segment on my podcast called Shot for Shot. I think you already asked me a random question. So, in my normal part, you would ask me a random question, but you already did that. But I'm gonna ask you a random question, and then we'll wrap it up with some of the shout outs and stuff. I gave you the $1 million budget, and you're talking about what you do with a podcast or whatever. If I can give you ownership of any sports franchise, what team would you own? And what would be, like, not a lot of decisions, like one major decision that you would make off like you come in the front office, you're wearing this, you're like, thank you so much. I'm honored to own the team. The first thing we're doing is X.
Oh, man. It has to be a Philly sports team.
I know that.
I love the Eagles ownership. I like the Phillies ownership. I despise the Sixers ownership.
Okay, so you would take the Sixers.
I would take the Sixers out of spite to be like,
Yeah.
You know what? I think a 20-year-old who has just played too much NBA 2K in his life can do a better job than.
I love it.
than
And
you
then what
guys
would be
can.
what would be your first decision?
I would sit down with Joel Embiid and ask him what's wrong.
You'd pay him more or no? What's wrong? Like mental health?
He gets hurt every year. Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
constantly hurt.
Well, maybe it's his body. I don't know.
Yeah. So I would want to talk
See.
to him and just kind of like apologize
For his body breaking down.
for his body breaking down and for how he's been treated.
That's a good one.
In the city and by the team.
Would you try to keep him then with that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
please. Okay, I got you.
I think
You'd
he's
build a team around him.
Yes. I mean, I think
Okay.
when healthy, I think he's the best player in the league.
There you go. So you'd come there, you'd be like, hey, I got to repair this relationship
Yes,
with Joel
I'm a
Embiid.
fan of you.
And then Joel Embiid, what you need from me? And then
Yes.
also, what can we do to keep you healthy?
Yes.
That's a pretty strong leadership job. All right, I rock with it. Yeah, because y'all had like Ben Simmons, y'all had some crazy stuff. Yeah, like
it's
Joe,
not
was it Harden? All kinds
Uh-huh.
of messy stuff.
Maxi's great. I love that guy.
I will. Before we get to our shout outs and plugs, one thing is, I wish Iverson would have won.
Oh yeah.
Just one. I
Yeah.
love him.
Yeah.
He
He's
was literally trying to play by himself, though.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, some people love him and some people like cannot stand him.
I don't know why. I love him.
His attitude.
He's real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he tried.
He's been through a lot.
And he
He
played
went
hard.
through a lot of stuff.
But he literally in that finals, he was by himself.
It was him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who.
I don't think anyone could have pulled that off.
40-year-old Mutombo guarding Prime Shaq was a good idea.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So there you go. You probably would have won that thing. All right. So this is the part of the show called Shout Outs and Plugs. Before I do it, I'll just say every episode that I do is in honor of my father-in-law, Jeff Kirsch. So I'll put in the show notes of mine, the Jeff Kirsch Anti-Hunger Fund for all his work doing food insecurity, trying to combat that. And then additionally, if you're part of the Mason Nation, please consider submitting a Pats for Patriots. So that'll be in the show notes. But
That's awesome.
shout outs and plugs. Anything you want to shout out and plug?
Obviously, like shout out to my parents. Shout out to all the people who have supported me along the way. This will be the 4th episode of the State of podcast.
Yeah.
I realized I did 2 last semester, and I'll probably do 1 or 2 more this semester.
Space it out. Yeah.
But yeah, like it's not gonna be an every week thing. Shout out to the podcast club at George Mason University.
Yep.
Go follow them. I think it's like Pod Club GMU on Instagram.
I'll put all that.
To the State of podcast.
Uh-huh.
And then I mean, if you guys think I'm that interesting, you can follow me on Instagram too.
There it is. Yeah.
Shoot. But yeah, thank you to the people who've brought me here and kept me here, and looking forward to getting even further and doing even better.
Let's do it. All right. Well, thank you so much. Please, if you enjoyed listening to this collaboration episode of Positive Philter / The State of Podcast, both will be in the show notes. Please give them a like and follow and subscribe. This has been a great collab episode, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Positive Philter, a podcast that focuses on family, friends, career, with a little self-help along the way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends, and like the Facebook page, Spreading Positivity of Movement. Thanks for listening.